It was French champagne and Scottish whiskey for South Africa's elite as the ANC turned 103. This is Checkpoint, and I'm Nkepile Mabuse. It was the oldest liberation movement in the world until achieving its primary objective, political power, nearly 21 years ago. But has it really come of age, given the inequalities that still divide South Africa? Nowhere was that divide more evident than at a star-studded bash here in Cape Town this past weekend, where big business cozied up to the ruling party for a price.
Okay, get a reaction from you.
All eyes were on the president's top table after reports that South African business had forked out up to 3 million rand to sit with him at the ANC's gala dinner, amid reports that the party is struggling financially.
Whatever the price tag that is there for sitting with the president, sitting with whatever, it's people who wish to do so, who feel they can be able to do so. They don't feel the pain for doing so because they believe that they need to support the African National Congress. This has been the practice in the African National Congress. Ever since we came in 1994, we've been having fundraising dinners, and it has always been known that the table that sits the president and whoever, it's always been known that we fundraise like that.
How much was it to sit with President Mandela?
Well, I don't know, because I mean, I didn't. And by the way, President Nelson Mandela did those fundraising dinners for the ANC, but also did fundraising dinners for a whole host of other charities and a whole host of other organizations. He didn't just only did it for the ANC.
The only person likely to have paid anything close to 6 figures to dine with number one was our dollar billionaire Patrice Motsepe, a steady ANC backer over the years. Neither seats were occupied by two of the president's wives, SAFA President Danny Jordaan and struggle veterans Ruth Mompati and Sophie de Bruyn. So, has it become difficult to sell Zuma? eNCA's analyst Angelo Fick says most business people invest in the future and are reluctant to be associated with the president on his way out.
Being seen to be too close to Jacob Zuma in his final term as president of the country may actually burn you should somebody else come from a rival section of the party and become, in 2017, the president of the party. So what we're looking to here is people playing very cautiously in the way in which they're going to do this.
The ANC has denied rumours that it's no longer able to fund the day-to-day running of the organisation. Understandably, donors may be reticent, with allegations of corruption and the slow pace of delivery denting the brand. The president has admitted as much.
We admit that the organization is in trouble.
In Cape Town, the party was forced to pay up front for venues after slow and even non-payment at previous events.
It was America that ran a big headline that the ANC is broke, doesn't have money. And the DA collaborated with America to think that we will not pay. We've not paid a deposit, we've paid full amount from everything in the Western Cape. It's the first time we do that, but we've done it.
How much was spent and made during the week-long celebrations isn't being disclosed. Even post the official bash, efforts were being made to raise more cash. At an after-party on Saturday, organised by the ANC's Progressive Youth in Business, supporters were charged between 30 and 5,000 rand to dance the night away with ministers. The 30,000 titanium package included some of the finest French champagne and Scottish whiskey. In exchange, businesses were promised free publicity, leaving many wondering whether the president and his party are for sale.
Not really. I mean, if then that's the case, then they would have said the struggle itself is for sale. Remember that even when we were in the liberation struggle, we had to raise funds in order for us to survive, to carry out that struggle. It meant R. Tambo has to go and speak somewhere, has to go to some dinner. It meant Nelson Mandela, our former president, also needed to go somewhere to fundraise.
In South Africa, we're in an environment where there are already allegations of corruption, and there are perceptions of corruption, maladministration and misadministration. I think it is important for ministerial officials to, in these scenarios, make sure that they're perceived to be above any kind of questioning, above any kind of reproof, above any kind of accusation.
No party in South Africa is obliged to disclose its funders, but there is an uncomfortable feeling that only those who give generously to the ANC will reap the rewards and acquire lucrative government deals.
After the break, what do the residents of Cape Town think of the ANC's birthday pledge to take back the mother city?
They must learn acceptance of the fact that they have lost the Western Cape.
You are bused to a stadium, a soccer stadium, music blares, everybody must dance, have a sweater on, and one man speaks and then we go home. Colored people are not that way inclined. We want a meeting in a community hall or at a house meeting where I can question you on your past record. That's not allowed in an ANC meeting. The one who questions is the enemy, must be kicked out.
Welcome back to Checkpoint, coming to you from Cape Town, where the president and his cabinet have spent the past week drumming up support for the ANC's birthday bash. Has the offensive worked, and will the ruling party win hearts and minds in this elusive province? Well, we went to find out.
It is facetiously referred to as La Petite Europe, or Little Europe, and accused of reserving opportunities big and small for whites. Many tales have been told about racism in the mother city, how accommodation is available and then suddenly not when a blackface shows up. So, when the ANC rolled into town to turn 103, the party comfortably played the race card to counter the DA's dominant narrative of a working city.
All the influence control measures that the DA is making is trying to keep Cape Town white. That's what they want to do.
The ruling party used glaring class and racial divides as a rallying cry to mobilize support.
Le province ayikafike ezandleni zethu, siyayifuna ngamandla kuba xa ingekho ezandleni zethu imeko zalapha sihlala khona ayilunganga tu. Kuba bayiphetheyo bajongele kwezaa ndawo zihlala abantu abamhlophe, abasijongelanga thina apha.
But the ANC's racially charged rhetoric isn't likely to change the minds of the most dominant community in this province.
This face is
Coloured people represent more than half the population of the Western Cape. And the ANC is still struggling to capture their hearts and minds. This middle-class family tells me they don't believe the ANC will ever rule here again.
They must learn acceptance of the fact that they have lost the Western Cape. See, besides, don't be sort of militaristically inclined to want to change. The people must say who they want to vote for.
The ANC will say they give you this and they give you that. And 10 years down the line, we still haven't received this and that. They're not being truthful, basically. They're not being truthful.
They aren't able to accept that there isn't one national blanket that can fit the entire country. They aren't tailoring national policy and solutions to fit the Western Cape.
Ivan and Maureen Charles are both retired teachers and speak proudly of how their community also fought to end apartheid. But today they say they feel like outcasts. No one seems to remember their efforts.
Look what Neville Alexander fought for. Look what Benny Keys fought for. All right? Brutus. People that had to flee. September, that got killed in France. These are people that fought for us.
But
and fought for you. And fought for you, for me. You understand? And what have we got from that? Zilch. Nothing.
She was part of that lot.
You know, we got nothing.
She knew them personally.
On the other side of town and the political fence, Roscoe Jacobs rallies people in his Hout Bay neighborhood to attend the ANC's birthday celebrations.
We're going to the stadium now.
To him, the African National Congress is not just a political party, but a way of life. He was expecting his neighbors to join him at the stadium, but says most of them pulled out, citing other commitments.
There were 3 funerals taking place today.
He assures me that at least some of them did pitch.
They are here, but I'm not sure where exactly it is that they are. So they are here, but everybody's scattered all over.
Is it difficult to sell the ANC in the Western Cape and specifically to in coloured areas?
I think the question that should be asked is a race still an issue within the Western Cape? And that is very much still the case. Part of the problem lies within coloured people themselves. You know, we need to claim our African identity. We talk about our European heritage or ancestry rather than our African ancestry.
So where were you here with Madiba?
That was the day when I was Premier and I invited Madiba to a function at Leuvenhof to join with me that day.
Veteran politician and former Premier of the Western Cape, Peter Marais, says Mandela's politics of unity and tolerance are a distant memory, and that the ANC of today has burned way too many bridges with coloured folk.
The whole cabinet is virtually just comprised of black people, but the coloured people who have the qualifications were overlooked. And then you have Jimmy Manie, burned another bridge to the working class by saying that there are too many coloured peoples in the Western Cape and that they must move to other provinces to find work.
We asked the ANC how they plan to take this alienated province without tailoring their message.
It's an unfortunate situation. It is one that the African National Congress would not deliberately go out to marginalize and say, you know, we want nothing to do with them. It is a challenge. It is a problem that we believe that we can be able to deal with. As the African National Congress, we will push for non-racialism in South Africa because it's the core of who we are.
Marais says the ANC's political culture is foreign in these parts.
You are bused to a stadium, a soccer stadium, music blares, everybody must dance, have a sweater on, and one man speaks and then we go home. Colored people are not that way inclined. We want a meeting in a community hall or at a house meeting where I can question you on your past record. That's not allowed in an ANC meeting. The one who questions is the enemy, must be kicked out.
But many are in agreement that the DA too has some way to go in terms of delivery. So it can hardly rest on its laurels.
Coming up, the ANC's social media weapon.
The ANC is brilliant at using symbols and history and the trick of diversion and say to you, but remember, this is about Mandela, this is about Tambo. Can you do the Tambo salute? Because other people did this and other people do that. So it's all about symbolism. And for the target market that it is meant for, it works.